Boom, boom, kaboom, baby. Yeah, it's Noof Nukem in the room. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 17 of the Gaming Fuse podcast. I'm your host. Yes, it's Noof Nukem, and we're going to have a great show for you tonight. Fantastic guest making a first time appearance on this show. As usual, we bring back our usual cast of characters, kind of. I'll get to that in just a second. But obviously, yeah, it's been an interesting week or so in gaming. We got some news to get into. Obviously, some fairly big news coming out of the PlayStation camp with Jim Ryan stepping aside. He's not done just yet, however, but he will be stepping down in next spring. So we'll talk about what those implications might mean for the brand and that sort of stuff. Lots of big game releases coming out as well. Spider-Man just around the corner. Hype, hype. Let's get it going, and all that and more. But right now, let's bring in one of our panel members. Kind of looks like Captain Picard, and he's got a very fitting background. The one and the only Mental Niner, another Canadian sensation.
How's it going, guys? Chat. Glad to be here as usual. Looking forward to a great show tonight. I'll be honest, Noof didn't have a lot of time to look at those topics. I've been busy, but I'll wing it to the best of my capabilities. It should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
They're not exactly topics that you need to have, a PhD in or anything like that. They're just kind of mostly
then
opinion
I'm
pieces
safe.
than anything else. So I think we should be good. We got an amazing chat in the house again tonight, and we'll talk about them in just a second. But let's bring in, I guess before we bring in our special guest making her first time appearance on this show, which is awesome, another fantastic female gamer to bring in. We do guys have some very sad and disappointing news, and I only found this out just before the show went to air, and it hits me right in the throat, right in the feels. I'm pretty sure Mental feels the same way. Perhaps maybe not quite as much as me because I go back a little further with this guy. But the sad news is, guys, and I kind of saw this coming, to be honest with you, because there was a bit of a question mark going in, and that is our other panel member, who you obviously can see is not here tonight, Titan Drogo, is leaving the podcast. Yeah,
it's that's a blow.
I don't really have a lot of words to say because honestly, I have nothing but love, respect for Titan. This show is not the same without him, just the same as Gaming After Dark was not the same without him or Mag. We're back in that same boat again, which obviously means we'll be looking for another panel member. And I want to take my time with it because I want to make sure we get the right fit. But I hate to bring you that news. It's very sad. I understand, guys, and he's just in his kind of career profession, the late nights and the commitments and stuff like that. It's I guess it's a bit much for him. He gets exhausted, and to each their own. We've all been there, and I don't think there's hardly any of us who've ever left a podcast before that was just because we didn't want to be there. A lot of us have left again for personal reasons and usually due to jobs and time and all that sort of stuff. So it is really sad. I hate to break you that news. Again, I just found out prior to the show starting. I was hoping he'd jump on her tonight and break the news to himself, but obviously he's not here. So I guess that means, it's up to me and Mental to carry the load, and we'll move forward. Obviously, it'll be a different look podcast for a couple of weeks, but we'll see what happens. I think I already got 3 or 4 people who I would happily send out invitations to. But without any further ado, before I acknowledge the chat and our super chats, which are greatly appreciated but are not expected, let's bring the one and only, the fabulous Double D M85 Death Dealer. You guys might know this young lady. She's a fairly new cast member of the Iconic Video Games podcast, which you can find on Friday nights over on Axel 1324's channel. If you guys are not familiar with Axel, he used to be a co-panel member with me on Good Morning X. As a matter of fact, he's the host of Good Morning Xbox now. He took that one over, but here she is, Death Dealer M85, the one who keeps the one and only Dreadpool in check. Here she is. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody.
She's a little less hairy than Dreadpool. Here. That's a good thing.
A lot less hairy. Yeah, I let him carry all the hair in the family. It's only appropriate,
You guys both do have the long black hair going in your favor, though.
Yeah, it's a shame about Titan. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm on Iconic Video Games on Friday nights with his lovely wife, and I was actually looking forward to being on another show with him because I don't really get to be on the show with him very often.
Right.
So, well, We'll miss you, buddy, but I'll still get to see your wife every once in a while. So there's that.
Right? Absolutely.
But
Well,
thank you
like
for
I said,
having me.
it's sad news indeed, but the good news is Titan is open to dropping on and doing a guest spot here and there. Probably when he's in spring breaks and when the summer comes, and he's not so he's not so stressed and stuff like that. So it's totally understandable. We look forward to having him back as a guest in the future and certainly bringing him in when the topics are certainly right for discussion. We know Titan, when there's something really gets his kerfuffle going, he likes to jump in and, he'll probably send me a message and say, Noof, this is a great show to have me on, man, because I got some shit to say. And sure enough, right, that's how it works. But Death Dealer, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you here. I've been saying this for a long time. It's great to have more ladies representing in our community. And I've seen you on Axel's podcast many times. You've done a great job. You bring a little wit, a little bit of fun over there. And obviously you've got a great smile. So you're definitely photogenic to the camera. And I'm pretty sure the chat is happy to have you here as well. If they're not familiar with you now or were before, they are now. So welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Let's catch up with the chat real quick because we can't have this podcast without the amazing and beautiful chat that we have. Got to give a shout out to two of the most loyal, longtime supporters I've ever had. Timothy Dixon, Doggy Dog. You guys are effing MVPs, brother. The two of you guys, unbelievable support from those two. Can't thank you enough. Thanks for being here. As always, let's move down. Talos Ray, another fantastic gentleman in the community. Love playing games with that guy, and it's long overdue, Talos. We got to hook up again, brother. Yes, our good brother, Dreadpool, also one of my longtime supporters. God love the man. He's an awesome dude. And obviously, if you guys aren't familiar already, yes, Death Dealer is his better half. Like I said, the one that keeps him in check. So there you go. Put two and two together. We got DP and DD. There we go. A little double D going on action up in here. Cool Cat Terry, my co-host panel member, former co-host panel member. Good morning, Xbox. Cool Cat Terry. There's another girl I have got to get on this podcast. I'm almost ashamed I haven't sent her out the bat signal already to come on because I love Cool Cat Terry. Very fun, very witty, and she has some great opinions and epic rants in the vein of Titan Drogo, basically. So yeah, Cool Cat Terry is one of the shining spotlights. God love her, and her indie spotlight is always one of the gems on Good Morning Xbox, guys. If you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself. She's put me on to more games that I never would have hadn't given a chance if it wasn't for her spotlight. So kudos to her. Doggy Dog comes in first, hot and heavy with the super chat. Maybe Death Dealer, you'd like to do the honors. Can you read the screen?
Gaming Fuse Tab. Let's go. Woo!
Yeah. There you go. She does. She's got that Doggy Dog charisma. That woo. Yeah. All right. We got Curry Cosmos.
Nobody can do Doggy better than Doggy, though. I gotta give it up. I love that man. He's amazing.
That boy is wild. Let me tell you. Yes, he's like a rabid dog in heat most of the time. Whoa! Yeah, Doggy! Whoa, let's go! Ah! Yeah, something like that. He kind of reminds me of Animal off of the fucking Muppets. You know what I mean? He's got that kind of like just constant burst of energy ready to happen at any moment. You know what I mean? Sergeant Sentinel Gaiman is in the house. Good to see you. The Jinna, long time no see, brother, but welcome back. Good to see you in the chat as well. Who else we got going on here tonight? We got Thimber. We got who else in the chat tonight? A lot of the same people, but the awesome people they are. And I think we got the King. We got the King in the house. The King came over to our podcast a few weeks ago after we had one of our other guests on, and I think we've got a new fan of the show. Newtorius is in the building. Good to see Newtorius. Good always to be represented for good old Newfoundland, Canada. Caper Grant, my East Coast brother. It's been a long time, my friend. Good to see you in the chat as well. Darko's Dreamers here as well. And Dreadpool comes in, dumping your guys' hard-earned money down the toilet on my podcast. There you go. He drops $5. Death Dealer, maybe you maybe I don't know. Should you read out one from your hubby? I don't know. Go ahead.
I will. Well, since we all know, I won't say my name. I do a great job leading the all-female podcast, Majestic Mayhem. Awesome to see more women getting into our hobby.
Here.
He's trying to butter me up because he wants more games. I'm sure there's more things he wants to buy. Is what that is.
Oh, he's trying to suck up.
But it's okay. I probably want the things too.
Well, that's a great thing. I really am very jealous and envious about gaming couples because I see them all the time. Titan and Drogo are a couple. You and Dread obviously are a couple. That sort of thing. I think even Cool Cat Terry and her husband are gamers. Although I don't know if he's a real hardcore guy too much, but he does game. Like he's familiar with it and everything. So I really have an envy for you guys. My wife does not give two shits about it. But she doesn't have a problem with me playing it or spending money on it. So that's at least one bonus, right? I don't get flack. I had ex-girlfriends in the past would constantly chirp at me all the time. Well, now we know why they're exes, right? That's right.
See, I have a theory on it. Even if you're not into gaming, I always recommend that women support their spouses in gaming because I feel it is the safest option out there. You know where their money goes. You know where they're at all the time. You can always find
Right.
them on the couch. Like it's you don't have to play Where's Waldo. I mean, like it's a win-win
Right.
situation.
So why is it?
It's like I
like a
tell
lot of the
my
women-
wife,
Yeah.
it's a hobby. It's it's where I spend my money,
Mhm.
but it could always be worse. I could spend it on hookers and blow, and I don't do that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I always would say that I think part of my ex-girlfriend problems is they were just jealous that I was spending more time touching them in the controllers in the right places instead of them. You're making the controller vibrate, but not me. What's going on?
See, now that could be a problem. That would be a concern. See,
Yeah.
now that I would have a problem with.
Well, here you go, dear.
Yeah,
Here's
put
two
those- put
two
those
double A
uses.
batteries for you. No, knock yourself out.
Put those speaker skills to use, my friend.
That's right. Hey, look, it's all about moderation, right? It's
That
all about
it is.
moderation and not ignoring them completely, which I never did. But even still, like I said, as soon as that Xbox logo fired up, it was always a problem. But anyway, enough about relationships. Again, chat's amazing already. Got Pixel Slap in the house. Stinking Corpses here. My long-term buddy. What's going on, brother? Yeah, man, the chat are awesome. You guys really, honest to God, you guys are fantastic. Again, Dread, thanks for stopping in, brother. Too bad you couldn't be here. I got to get you on soon, so let me know when you get some free time. Maybe I can get you and Death on at the same show. Maybe a Halloween special. You two could come on. That'd be great if you got time. All right. So Mental, should I ask what you've been playing, what you've been up to? Starfield, probably.
Yeah, it definitely Starfield. I've decided I'm going to let my background do the talking on what I've been playing the most lately. So I'll just start, eventually get to Phantom Liberty though. I love Cyberpunk, man. I really enjoy that game. So as soon as I finish my time in Starfield, that'll probably be what I hit up next. But other than Starfield, I'm still kind of bouncing around in Ratchet and Clank a little bit here there on the
What a great game, eh?
PS5. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It's a nice change of pace going from Starfield and worried about every conversation I have and decision I've made. I had to break Sarah's heart, though. I moved on to Andrea because Sarah was just too much of a stick in the mud. I don't know. Every time you kill someone by accident, that's it. I'm out of here. And so it's definitely a little easier to play with Andrea on your side. It's a little more easy going in that regard.
Those graphics
Good times,
on
though.
Ratchet and Clank, are they something else?
It's pretty impressive, really.
God, they're like butter. It's like literally playing a freaking like a Pixar film.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give Sony credit for what's in that box. They always seem to get the most out of it, and that's something that Xbox been fairly criticized for. They're just not quite getting the same, overall graphical appeal, I'll say, out of their games is what. Hey, hon.
Oh,
Sorry, my daughter
Aw.
coming in, but
So cute.
yeah, not. Yeah, she's.
I like your
getting
daughter,
herself
but that
ready for
shirt
bed,
got to
so-
go.
Yeah, well, we did
She's
move
beautiful.
From BC,
She
right?
can wear whatever
Sorry,
she
yeah.
wants.
That's Vancouver Canucks.
she's
that's
great.
enemy territory for us Oilers fans.
Yeah, well, the Oilers have always been my second favorite, so take solace in that. And the longer I live here, they'll probably swing into that.
They'll grow on you. We got to go to a game, man. For
They
sure.
will. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, it's impressive what they do with the PS5. I've got to admit now that I finally have one, but hopefully Xbox with some of their first party titles upcoming will do a better job of getting more out of the X.
How about yourself, Death Dealer? What games have been keeping you busy recently?
Actually, recently, I unfortunately haven't really been able to play too many video games. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
You need a
I
vacation.
I do. I very much do. For those of you that don't know, around this time, I actually run a haunted trail or a section of a haunted trail. So I spend the whole month of September getting it ready, and then October I work it, and we're open all weekend. So during the week, I'm usually out there fixing problems and adding new things and costuming things. So I wish I had time for gaming. It would probably be so much less painful. But
What was the last
when I
game you
get back
remember
to
playing then?
the last game I was playing was Dead Island 2 because I waited for so long for that game, and I absolutely love the first Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide. So as soon as the second one came out, that's been my game of choice when I have time. So love that game. Nothing better than
I
killing
haven't tried it
zombies.
yet, but I've been wanting to try it. It's on my to-do list. I don't even have a copy of the game, but I'll probably pick it up when I see it on the cheap, and I'll give it a go then.
I recommend it. It's fun for the whole family. Literally, my whole family plays it. My daughter plays it.
Four-player co-op, isn't it? That one? Or is
It's
it
a
two?
co-op game. No, it's a co-op game online. Yeah.
But it's four players can play, right?
5 actually, I think can play.
5. Oh wow.
I think
Damn.
5.
Damn.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure.
I
My
know it was
child's
multiple
now
because I think
staring
even the
at
old
me
ones were multiple. So
the old one, I believe, is 4. So I think this one's. You know what? Don't take my word for it. I don't know. It's been a very long few weeks for me. I am very much probably sun poisoned.
all right. There you go. So we got some Starfield, some Dead Island, and as for myself, I've been obviously playing Starfield. I'm definitely enjoying Starfield. I think I'm level 14, probably not near as far along as Mental, but I try to play when I can get a few hours each night, and I'm just kind of taking my time with it, exploring around, doing some side missions, trying to get through some of the nuances of the game, all that sort of stuff, and playing things out and having an absolute blast at it, to be quite honest with you. Will it be my game of the year? Probably not likely, but it's a damn solid game, no doubt about it. They did a pretty good job on it, and my gripes are kind of on the minor side of the game, but but overall, like I said, I'm enjoying the shit out of it, really. So yeah, Lost in Space. I got lots of space up here anyway, so it makes sense.
It's a good time. I think I'm level 36 now, and some of the missions that I've got to go into are still quite a bit higher than me in levels. So, although I did just finish one that was, I think there was level 50 or level 60 some odd characters, but it doesn't punish you that bad, I've noticed. Like some games you could forget about it, right? You're level 36, you'd be destroyed, like one hit kill kind of scenarios, right? But this doesn't do that. It's a bit different. You'll notice that they're more of a bullet sponge than your typical opponents. And that's all. But you can still defeat them. So that's kind of nice too.
Yeah, and like I said, you can take the planets in certain orders. You kind of have like a ranking or a level on there, so you kind of know what you're up against if you're paying attention to that stuff. So you really don't fly into an area and go, "Yeah, I'm not ready for that planet." But no, it's a really cool game. Lots of really cool stuff happens in that game. Love the dog fights in the sky and managing the ship and stuff. It's a pretty cool stuff. It's a lot of attention to detail in that game.
Do the Freestar Rangers if you haven't. Do that quest, you get a pretty decent ship at the end of that.
Yeah.
And if you do the Crimson Fleet, depending on what choices you make, I think you get a ship at the end, or you end up with a bunch of credits. There's like 2 potential options, and you get enough credits, you can probably buy a ship with them.
Yeah, there was one mission early on. If you there was like this book or something you pick up, and it would give you this location to some planet. But I think like for me, like the planet is like level 42 or something. So if you're brave enough to tackle it early, you can go and get that ship or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like one of those kind of things. Like, yes, you pick up this book somewhere, and in it, when you read the message, that's what it tells you. Like, oh, there's this ship, and it's on this planet. But obviously, I looked up the planet, and I've got to navigate a few star systems before I can get there. And the planet is like a level 2 or level 42 or something like that. I'm like, yeah, if I go there, I'm probably going to get annihilated or something. But I think there's ways around it. But yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, Cyberpunk, too many good games to keep me playing Starfield. Starfield's great, but I haven't played it in 3 weeks. So I see some people that can't put it down, and other people are kind of already done with it or had their fill for the time being. You know, that's the biggest problem in the games industry these days, and I think it's unanimous that there's just so many games. And when you're a multi-console owner and you play on PC and you kind of play everywhere, your problems are only multiplied tenfold because there's good games on every platform. They come in at various times, and this time of the year is like this time, especially more so than the last 3 or 4 years, but because of the COVID, a lot of those games that were supposed to really dock during COVID are kind of coming out now, and we're kind of inundated. Yep. It's like, guys, God, you guys can slow down at any time, please. Give us a break.
I think it's only going to get worse. You know, the games are going to start coming at us even faster, and for any of these longer ones, like a Starfield or something like Avowed, when it comes out, more story-driven, longer RPGs, you're going to be sitting there going, oh, geez, I really want to play whatever, and I can't because I'm still doing this. And it's Microsoft might frustrate us with too many games after years.
Yeah, Game Pass sometimes saves us on the wallet, but it does us no favor in the time department, right?
Exactly.
I find that a lot of the time that's my problem is a game will come out and I'll be excited and want to play it, and then I forget about it because there's 1,000 games that come out between then and now and then, and even then it seems like so many come out at one time. You have to
pick and choose.
There's not enough time, there's not enough people, there's not enough consoles. There's just not enough of us in general. It seems to be that we forget about them.
We at our age, we're the reverse. We spend so much time as adults working to afford all of these games, and now we got no time to play them. Especially if you got a balance of work, family life kind of thing, and obviously trying to find time to do these podcasts, which always blows my mind that the people that do like multiple podcasts a week, I'm like, God damn, do you guys sleep or what? Because I can't find the time. Seriously, you must like 2 hours of sleep and get back up and play some games and go to work and come back and do a podcast and do it all over again. I have no idea. But all I can say is each their own, man. If you're able to balance everything in life, good on you, man. I'll tell you. Whew.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump into the first topic of the night. It was kind of a big one. We never got to talk about it last week. We've kind of missed a couple of weeks here, or at least 1 week in particular. Do again apologize, guys, for the no podcast last week. But stuff came up, and I did adhere to that first. So here we are. And again, for those of you not acquainted or just joining us on the show, the announcement early off the top of the night. If you're wondering where Mr. Titan Drogo is, so Titan has decided to bow out and leave the podcast. So he'll be back in the future, perhaps for a few guest spots here and there. But as far as I know, just because of his career field and the timing of the show, he just wasn't able to make it. So I'm going to have to make a few choices after tonight, and this podcast will not shut down, but we will have to most likely look for another panel member or two potentially, and there might even be a change of time slot potentially as well. And we'll see how that goes, because I also have to run that by Mental. I don't want to lose him too, but we never know how this stuff's going to play out. But anyway, Jimbo, Flying Ryan, Jimbo, Lion Ryan, whatever you want to call him. All right. I think the consensus is, even among some of the PlayStation people I've kind of talked to, is that Jim Ryan did an adequate job at PlayStation, but he never really had to step above and beyond, because he kind of came in on the hot end of things. The PlayStation 4 was riding an all-time high. He came in riding some major releases like God of War, stuff like that. And it was kind of almost like on cruise control when they launched the PlayStation 5. I'd say the majority of the complaints or the things he had to deal with were obviously the manufacturing issues, shipping them out, that sort of stuff. But, obviously the PlayStation 5's had a pretty good start. Obviously some software delays on their end as well. But, I mean, you can't deny the fact that right now they're saying the PlayStation 5 could end up being bigger than the PlayStation 2. When you think about that, that's absolutely insane. Especially considering the PlayStation 5's been at 2 years now, hasn't had a price drop. It's actually gone up in price. They launched the PlayStation VR 2. They're getting ready to launch this PlayStation Portal, yada, 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 yada. But I mean, they've had some great games. They've been at the forefront of the Game of the Year conversations. You got Spider-Man coming out right now, which is no doubtly going to be one of the most anticipated and best games of the year. It's going to be a good game, whether it's unanimously greater than the last one. It's going to be hard to say. I mean, both Spider-Man and Miles Morales were phenomenal. It's kind of hard to raise the bar when you've already set it pretty high, but it is Insomniac, and we certainly know that if anybody's going to do it, it would probably be those guys. I can't wait to get my hands on a copy. I know Mental's already got his special edition console, and he's just waiting for the game to launch, and I think you can play that. Correct, Mental?
Yeah, you bet. I will be able to do that.
So there you go. So Mental is getting ready to go. Hopefully I'll pick up the game and play it as well. Maybe Death Dealer. Are you even on the PlayStation platform at all, Death?
We do have a PlayStation. I don't necessarily dislike PlayStation. I just don't play on it very often per se. There's particular games that I do have to have a PlayStation for. I am a very big fan of God of War, and that is a PlayStation only thing. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I hear you there.
I do.
So from both your perspectives, how would you what would you say is your takeaway from Jim Ryan at this point? I mean, I don't think he's actually had any announcements or did anything that kind of stands above and beyond. I think the one glaring thing, which is more of a negative, and this might be one of the reasons why he's decided to retire when he is because of the whole, a lot of stuff came out during the FTC trial. And certainly one of the big ones was the quote that Lena Meservey, or whatever her name is, that she dropped when he more or less said, "I don't care about Call of Duty. I just want to stop this deal." And that might have been the whole Sony mantra, not just Jim Ryan's, but it got echoed. Stuff got put out there, obviously, to show how shrewd they are. And as I said to the guys on, like I said last night on Wilmy Hood's podcast, I said, the difference between him and Phil is Phil is a businessman, but he's a gamer at heart. Like, you feel like Phil is the kind of guy you can sit down and play a couch co-op with or any game, and he'd actually know what you're talking about. I don't get that feeling with Jim Ryan. I get the feeling that he might dabble with the odd game here and there, but he's more of a cell phone Candy Crush guy, most likely, and probably couldn't give two shits. He's more about the guy that goes home and crunches the numbers. And if the numbers are in his favor, he's like, woohoo, right? But Sony's done well, but at the same time, there's a bit of a damage control going on here, and the whole stain on their image does not look good in the industry because they've been a big proponent of trying to stop this deal. Well, Nintendo went ahead first right off the bat. Nintendo's like, "Yeah, we're in. We'll sign a 10-year contract." They're Japanese, but they had no issues because Nintendo sees how much they could gain from this partnership. But Sony obviously is just about no, at all costs shut down Xbox, right? And they've done this time and time again. So how do you guys feel about Jim Ryan? Maybe what was his mark, and what kind of person do you think they should replace him with moving forward?
So I can't say you're wrong with anything you said. I mean, when I look at PlayStation where it's at, to me, this isn't Jim Ryan's PlayStation yet. For the most part, what we've seen is the end of Jack Layden's reign as CEO, right? All the games that we played so far were under his watch. They all got started and greenlit under him. They all take 5-6 years. I think what's Jimmy Boy been there for, like 4 or 5 years now? He's just kind of coming into it.
Yeah,
so
right after Layden stepped down, he took over, which would probably been what, 2018?
Like 2018, 2019.
He came in about a year before COVID because he was there before the launch of the PS5.
Yeah,
it was right on the tail end of the PS4 kind of bowing out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, when you look at that, I mean, what's he really done? I mean, we don't really know yet. We do know that PlayStation disappeared from every major event, right? They quit going to E3, which for good, bad, or otherwise, E3's kind of gone the way of the dodo anyway, I think. So some people, you could say that was a good call. He got out of there early because you could see it coming to an end. Who knows? But, the reality is this, like, we went 2+ years without seeing anything from PlayStation. They skipped every major event, didn't show anything. And then this year was going to be the year that, now we get to see what PlayStation has to offer. And all we've got from them is gas, like lots of gas, games as a service, left, right, and center, right? Other than that, it's been a lot of third party. we haven't really seen much other than Spider-Man in terms of first party. They've kind of blown their load at the start of the generation with releasing their big guns. And now you're into a situation where you've got a lull coming up, right? 5 to 6 year development times from all of these guys. So, in fairness, he's done a couple of things that I thought were pretty good. I mean, number one, buying Insomniac. Like, where would Sony be without Insomniac right now? Right? Like, they've been hitting consistently, and they're bringing their games to PC. I think is a smart move for the company. It's all comes down to the dollars and cents. But then you look at Xbox and what they've done in that same time frame. It's the entire opposite, right? They're on the verge of this onslaught of first-party titles pouring into Game Pass day and date. Starfield's kind of the first of what I see as the kind of the beginning of this whole transition now. And then you throw in the ABK deal. If I'm assuming that'll wrap up here shortly. They're just going to have this constant flow of games dropping into Game Pass. And you look at that and all the things you mentioned about how, he kind of made Sony look bad in many respects, right? The guy lied to federal investigators.
Well, there's that, and don't remember, he started off the generation we don't believe in, or we believe in generations or something, right? Like he started off with that. And you remember he was talking about backwards compatibility, nobody really cared, and kind of gave us that, and then here we are again, right? So he had all these different statements, and obviously they all changed their tune. Again, they were sort of highly against the Game Pass model, and what did they do? They turned around and basically tried to mimic the Game Pass model. And I don't know if old Jim was on Viagra, but the one thing that's for certain is since he took over, everything went up.
Yeah, no, it's true, right? He's responsible for raising their online costs just to get a subscription to play games online. The cloud saves. I mean, you want a cloud save, you're paying big bucks for it, right? First time ever we saw console prices increase halfway through or partway through a generation. That just doesn't make sense. I mean, there's absolutely nothing in any of these consoles that costs more than it did 3 years ago. Like nothing. In fact, if anything, their costs have gone down significantly. That's the one thing that bothers me about the all digital Series X. You lose the flexibility, but the price is the same, and you get 2 terabytes. Well, big deal. That 2 terabyte drive is half of the cost of what the 1 terabyte one was 3 years ago.
Yeah,
it's just kind of it bothers me, and I hope the PS4 Pro launches, and I hope it kicks the crap out of Xbox so they wake up again, and I hope it's for the same price as what they're planning their refresh for, because they're going to look silly. We need that competition, and we need that to kind of snap people back to attention. But, as far as Jim leaving, it's no surprise to me. I think he made Sony look bad because he, there's a lot of pride in that organization, I think, and coming across as the weak entity. And we're gonna go under if we don't have Call of Duty, which we all know was a load of crap, and he knew was a load of crap. But the fact is, he said that to every federal regulator around the world, and saying it under oath. Yeah. Like, how is that not a crime? I can't believe the guy's walking around without some sort of punishment for lying while under oath. It just seems bizarre to me. But that's just me. What do I know?
Yeah, and he's talking about all the flights and stuff, and then did he not book a flight to go to Europe somewhere to sit down and have about this or something like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's flying all over the place, right? That's
trying to
the flying part of the Lion Jim Ryan. So,
Jeff.
I don't think he retired as much as he was asked to retire.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you, Death. Like, do you think this is more of a I'm just tired, or do you think that someone at the head kind of said, Jim, this might be a good time to bow out before the brand sort of starts trending in the opposite direction? Go out on top, as they say.
I think he was asked to have a seat and to stay seated. And quite frankly, he should. It should have been done a while ago. I mean, I'm going to take it back to the launch of the PlayStation 5 and the whole fiasco that was. That whole thing never should have happened, with the shortages of people not being able to get the consoles and them taking forever to restock. And then when they did restock, people still couldn't get their hands on them. And then the issue with the leaking metal. I mean, these are all problems that should have been accounted for and should have been fixed and solved before anything ever hit the market. they knew what kind of numbers they were looking at when it came to people buying those consoles. All these gaming companies have an idea of how many consoles they're going to sell, and to underestimate as much as they did when they released it, yeah, it's just ridiculous. And then to have the liquid metal issue, we are in how many councils have these people made, and now all of a sudden you can't figure out how to keep the liquid metal inside the and someone made a point a while back on another podcast that I was on. For the life of me, I can't remember who said it. I'm sorry, but they said it's not even necessary anymore. There's other things you could have done. So if you can't get it right, then why even include it in the first place? So to see him go, I'm hoping it benefits the company, because as far as I'm concerned, while he may not be the direct one to make all of these bad decisions, somebody has to stand and say, hey guys, wait a minute.
Take the fall. Yeah.
This might be a bad idea. Like, maybe he should have been that person saying, hey guys, this may not be the best idea. I mean, and like you said, and then to go in court and on national television and be like, oh, if we don't get these games for our consoles, we're going to go under. Seriously, bro? You're mad because somebody doesn't want to. You pull that shit all the time with games that they have access to that they're not willing to share. You don't hear Nintendo or Xbox complaining about it, but here you want to cry because it's not going your way. No, he needs to have the several seats and stay seating. So yeah, I hope it's for the best for the company. I really do. I hope PlayStation does better. I hope they improve. I hope they fix whatever issues they've got going, and I hope they continue growing, because Mental's right. We do need that competition on the market. That's what keeps prices low and what gives us plenty of options. Like I always tell people, console wars are pointless. Some consoles aren't for everybody. So it's nice that we have so many options to choose from. So I hope they do better, and I hope they get somebody who maybe isn't such a yes man, who will say, hey guys, bad plan.
Well,
Let's not do that.
At the end of the day, I think if you look at the difference between him and Shaun Layden, there's many, and who am I to say, like, to judge and evaluate the performance? I mean, under both leaderships, the brand has thrived for one thing or the other. Have they had their missteps? Absolutely. Certainly had their missteps now too, even with the PSVR 2. And I've said that, like, it came out pretty strong, like from a marketing standpoint, but what the hell have they been doing with it lately, right? And you're going to kill this thing again if you don't either drop the price, make those tough decisions, and get stuff out there. And there's been all sorts of weird price stuff that Sony has kind of dictated. And just even lately, if you guys look at it, under Jim Ryan's watch, they're planning to put up the basic cost of PlayStation Plus, right? I think it's soon going to cost me over $100. And they said that's to add more value to their service. But, they're leading a very dangerous charge, right? They were the first people to jack up the games. They're going to be now the first people to really, like, that's a big jump on their services, right? And all because what? Because they're essentially, you can still call them the industry leader. To some degree, that's Nintendo. But we all also agree that Nintendo marches by the beat of their own drum. Nintendo's basically kept the Switch at pretty much the same price it's been since it launched. I don't know how. It's the first time in any console generation that I've hardly seen any drop at all for Nintendo. They didn't even make a Switch Select series. Like, they didn't even drop their main games under $30. They're still selling these freaking things at $70, $80. Now, is that Nintendo's problem? I'd say it's more of a problem of the fact that people will continue to buy them at $70. And that's the thing. If people continue to buy it, Microsoft and Sony don't have that luxury. Like, if they don't drop their products usually reasonably quickly, their game's stagnant. So that's a testament to Nintendo, but the quality is also a testament to the fact that, again, they're in that market where they appeal to a different side. Like, yeah, the hardcore guys will buy them too. But I can tell you, look, I've been on my Switch and I've been on my Xbox and PlayStation, and I got a lot of the same friends in each community. And I can tell you, I bet you the people that play on the Switch are like 10% of what plays on PlayStation and Xbox. Like, they're almost non-existent. You can fire it up at any day of the night, and hardly any of my friends are playing it. So this is the thing. You got your hardcore Switch fans, but outside of that, like nobody really cares because those games don't really appeal to a lot of us. A lot of us in here, and I'm pretty sure in this chat, would rather play Starfield any day of the week than go play, Zelda or Mario or the same old from Nintendo, right? I'm not saying everybody, but the vast majority of us would rather be on Xbox or PlayStation, right? But like they've made their missteps, and they're going to continue to. But I'd like to see someone a little younger, a little brash, someone that has a little more like, not afraid to kind
It's an
of,
actual gamer.
An actual gamer, someone that's in touch with the actual community, somebody that actually seems like they actually know what they're talking about instead of just, yeah, we're doing great right now, and our numbers are up, and and PlayStation Plus is great. But they can't really tell you much more at least back in the PlayStation.
There's that picture of Jim holding the controller all awkwardly, like
he's like kind
you
of
could tell the guy's
never
front. Played it. Yeah, you could tell he's never used one in real life. Like, it's brutal. They need somebody in there that's like more like a Phil Spencer. That's you can see the guy online. He's online playing games, right? Like he's not just selling the Kool-Aid. He's drinking it too, and I don't see that from Mr. Ryan. Never did, and. I think Sony, they've got a long history of releasing really good quality first-party titles, et cetera, et cetera. So they need to get back to what they do well. And I think this strategy, what do they have? Like, I think a dozen titles they were planning on doing as gas games. I think they've canceled a couple of them now already. They should probably cancel half of them and get back to making the games that they do well.
That's a great point you bring up in the games as a service model, because that's something that's becoming now that is glaringly staring PlayStation in the face. And they've got to realize that, one, they cannibalized the franchises that were moving them forward in terms of multiplayer back in the day, because they had SOCOM, and they even had a little gem with that MAG game that they kind of gave up on before it really got big. They've had a few different games, like I said, SOCOM, MAG. What else they have? I mean, even Killzone, Resistance, Fall of Man, which obviously I wouldn't put the door closed on Resistance, but they have had their decent games. But the thing is, when their games were sort of semi-big, they were also semi-big on a console that was like before I guess the multiplayer became more of the rage. You know what I mean? Like a lot of their games were back when came out. Back when there wasn't a lot of big multiplayer titles. So everybody was either playing Call of Duty or probably Halo or something like that. SOCOM was great, Jen. You're absolutely right. And they need to either bring those back because people recognize the franchises, or they got to come up with something new. Now, obviously, they still own Destiny. So they got a bit of a gem right there. They got a money in the bank scenario with Destiny. A lot of people play it and still do. So that's good. They got at least one thing there. Now, will they leverage that down the road, perhaps make it solely exclusive? I think Bungie said they didn't want to be or something like that, and I think they still have sort of a say in what happens with their franchise, which is part of the reason they gave up on Halo, because they still wanted to have freedom to dictate where their IP kind of went. But obviously for PlayStation, it might be better off to keep a multi-plat anyway, just like Xbox knows that taking Call of Duty off of PlayStation would not be a good look for them regardless, because you'd lose out on a ton of money. It's kind of a win-win scenario, but they still need, just in case like the shit hits the fan, so to speak, right? They still need to have something internally that strikes it with gamers in the same way that their single player stuff does. And I think people realize that, and I think they know it deep down that they have to find some lightning in a bottle somewhere. But that means a lot of money, and nothing is a guarantee out there. Like nobody can put out a game and go, that's going to be amazing or that's going to be a hit. A lot of times, like you even look at Fortnite, which is probably one of the biggest games on the planet. That did not start out like that, though.
I hate that game.
Fortnite was almost
so
tanked,
much.
right?
I hate that game so much.
I could only play it once I got rid of the no build mode. Was the only time I could tolerate. With the build mode in, I couldn't play the damn game without it. I started to play, and I was like, it's actually kind of fun. But they got to find something like that, and then maybe they
Please don't encourage any more of those shitty games. Don't encourage any more of those games. No.
I mean, in the gas games world, like it's far more miss than hit, right? The chances of catching that lightning in the bottle are pretty slim. That's probably why he wanted to throw 12 of them out there, and with any luck, he gets one that's big and maybe a second one that's reasonably okay. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there, but I think don't forsake everything you've done in the past for this new craze, because kind of a dumb example, but there was a point in BC where ginseng farming was big, right? Tons of money to be made on it, and then every farmer in that you could see for miles was nothing but ginseng tarps. Well, guess what happened to the market? Bottom fell out of it, right? And all these guys that joined late really joined late. And
like the marijuana stores, same thing. Like you're starting to see some of them already go under because there was too many too fast, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's it'll be interesting to see what happens with it, but I'm not expecting miracles in that regard from Sony. I'd like to see him bring back something like you said, SOCOM, or the Killzone, even like that franchise. I enjoyed that Killzone on PS4. That was one of the games that I bought at launch and played it. It was good. And then there's always Foam Stars.
Yeah, somehow I don't think so. I think I heard somebody say they were playing like a beta or something of it, and they're like, no, this ain't it. This is not going to be their big hit. They're trying to capture
for?
It's for the people that
question. Yeah.
They're trying to capture the what do you call it? The Squid People game. They're trying to capture the Splatoon crowd.
Listen, I cannot for the life of me figure it out, okay? Because like on one hand, the characters in some of the provocative clothing and things make me go, okay, so we're trying to like tap into that perv like genre. Okay, cool. But we're shooting foam, which is non-dangerous and it's not doing damage. So okay, so take those people out because they're not going to find this entertaining after a few minutes. But because of the way the characters are dressed and behave, this isn't a game for kids. So who is it for? Who's going to want to play this for more than like 10 minutes? I cannot for the life of me figure out. And anyone I ask, no one knows. No one has an answer. No one knows. Because are either you buying the game?
Party Animals game on Xbox, I think, is absolute trash. It looks cute, but it's garbage. Oh my god.
I don't mind the perverts having games, Gina. I just have an issue with Foam Stars because I don't know who it's for.
Up to you.
Because even the perverts aren't going to buy it. Like, who's it for?
Yeah, that's
you heard it right here from Death Dealer. Even the perverts aren't going to buy it. So when the perverts don't skip on a foamy game with scantily clad ladies, it's all over for you.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Like Axel says, there you go.
Baby steps.
It's for the nerds that have never seen a wet T-shirt contest.
That's what that volleyball game is for, Axel.
Oh, Dead or
Come
Alive.
on. Yes,
yes, if you don't get a boner, I guess you are dead. And if you do get one, you're alive. You're dead or alive.
Exactly. It's a much better game. Much better game.
Oh, man. Yes, Party Animals is stupid, silly fun, but it controls like a bunch of drunk animals on fucking, I don't know. It's weird. It just plays fucking very, very weird. I don't know. But anyway, didn't want to get on the Party Animals. That's not the topic. But anyway, Jim Ryan, like I said, he steps down in the spring. Obviously, I think it's unanimous that three of us kind of feel that there was probably at least some sort of push from Sony, especially from Sony Japan, to say, Jim, we got to take this in a different direction. You've kind of had your fill. You step down while you're still on top. It's a good time because no one can really pinpoint and say, well, you're the cause of the downfall. But I think it's an image thing. I think Sony wants to catch up to Xbox in certain areas. They know they still sell a shit ton of consoles, but they obviously got to figure out some of the release dates. They got to get more consistency with their games. They're costing big money, and there's big gaps all over their release schedule. They've obviously got a ways to go when it comes to games as a service, and when it comes to the subscription model, they're trailing behind Xbox. They want part of that pie. We all know that Sony can keep laughing to the bank about all the consoles they sell, but that's the thing. You can sell all these consoles, and we've seen this time and time again. Yeah, you're selling 120 million consoles, but when you only got 5 million people from those 120 million buying your top game, that's kind of iffy, right? And we're talking about games that get notoriously good ratings that cost them 150, 200 million dollars, 5 years of development time, and they make a profit, But outside of the Spider-Man, which is kind of a given, and that largely sells on the title alone, it's Spider-Man. I mean, everybody knows who that is, and they're going to buy it. But God of War is not going to keep up with Spider-Man, right? None of those games are going to keep up with them because they just don't have that name recognition, right? And they're also mature games, and the ratings can have a play on the age groups that buy these games. So they're looking for that piece of that Microsoft pie too, right? And now this whole deal, the Activision Blizzard thing, has really thrown a curveball into their sort of what do we do, 5 years down the road, 10 years. Like, I mean, right now it's too early to see. The deal's not even, the ink's not even drying the paperwork quite yet. But I think I'm pretty sure everybody at Sony's kind of like, they're stepping up now, and they're kind of going, oh, like, okay, the game has definitely changed, and if this goes where we think it's going, we got to come up with a plan B, because Call of Duty is going to be, after our marketing deal goes, that Call of Duty is going to be all over the Xbox stuff. And if you don't think that that's not going to change the perception of Xbox, then you're foolish, because every kid out there that loves Call of Duty is going to see it on chip bags, on drink containers, on commercials, Call of Duty on Xbox. And if there's one thing that PlayStation has done very, very good that Xbox has not done, is making people feel, especially the laymen out there, the moms and the dads and the people that don't stay in touch with the games industry. Sony has done a phenomenal job of making everybody feel that every game that gets any type of marketing from PlayStation is only on PlayStation. Am I correct? Yep. They have a great job of putting it in fine print. It might only be just the DLC in the game is on PlayStation, but they like to put exclusive on everything. And people don't even know.
They'll have an exclusive weapon, and you'll see exclusive in big letters, and then it'll say weapon underneath, right?
Yeah,
like tiny little print, right?
They just did that with something in it. I can't remember what game it is now off the top of my head, but they just did that with something that they were like, oh yeah, it's a PlayStation exclusive, and it was literally like just like a skin or a gun or something. Because I'm like, wait a minute, didn't Xbox just say that they were releasing the same game? Like, how is that an exclusive? And then, my friend's like, no, if you read the fine print, it just says that with PlayStation, it gets a different gun. I'm like, oh, well, that's just.
Yeah.
If that's not
it's crazy.
Ridiculous.
Right. See?
They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
It's misleading for the average person.
Like, there was a bunch of games like that. Yeah, they continue to do that.
I don't know how many people I knew that thought Red Dead Redemption 2 was exclusive to PlayStation. I knew people thought the same thing about Destiny when PlayStation had the marketing rights.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're masters at putting exclusive in big bold letters and tiny little fine print underneath.
Yeah, and let me tell you, when they get an exclusive on any type of game or they get the marketing rights, they damn well let people know they have them, because their posters are up in stores. They're all over the place. I see it everywhere. I see it at commercials on TV, you know what I mean? And I don't see that level from Xbox. I'm sorry, I just don't. I'm just telling people what I see and what I hear, and I see way more Xbox ads, or sorry, PlayStation stuff. Even Nintendo does stuff well. Like, Nintendo game comes out, and in front of your local Walmart, and those fucking cement pillars that try to keep the vehicles from ramming into the doors, they'll have like fucking Nintendo shit all over them. Like, this game, like, people know the game exists and that it's out. I don't see a lot of that for Xbox. I mean, even Starfield. Like, I thought when I walked into my local Walmart, I'd see like these big things on Starfield. Fucking nothing. Nothing to even tell me what the hell this game is. For literally the biggest game that they've done in a decade, and the biggest game that's kind of come out for Xbox post Halo Infinite, I thought I'd see like really the red carpet rolling out of the store. Even if you're not buying the game, like Starfield on Game Pass, Starfield right here on Xbox, up on the cabinets. So somebody's not doing their job at the retail level, and shit, the word of mouth and stuff. This is where it happens. So anyway, I'm kind of going off topic. We're dealing into a whole different thing, but I'll give Jim Ryan and his crew credit with that, as they've killed it when it comes to marketing and making PlayStation seem larger than life, and they've set them up in a good position. Whoever comes in now at least has got the ball rolling in their favor, but it's how they kind of get rid of that bad taste in the mouth. I think most importantly is regain favor with the fans and let fans know that they're there for them. Yeah, they're all in it to make money. Nobody gives a rat shit about us at the end of the day. Like, they're in it for the same reason they all are, to make fucking bank. to keep us invested. But they want, like, I think we as a fan, and me as a PlayStation owner, I want to see someone come in that's a little more like Shaun Labrie, but perhaps Shaun was kind of quiet, kind of weird and kooky too when he was there. Maybe someone that's a little bit more Phil Spencer, right? But maybe has a little bit more edge. And is not afraid to say a few things and stuff like that without putting his foot in the mouth. So I don't know. Or he or she, it doesn't matter. Like, but somebody that's in touch with the gaming side and really wants the brand to excel in areas that they're struggling in.
And knows how to hold a controller.
That's
a good start, right?
Yeah, that would be helpful. Be super helpful.
Yeah. Jim Ryan looks like the kind of guy who needs instructions on how to masturbate. You know what I mean? There you go, guys. Quote of the night right there. I made Death Dealer laugh. That's a good one.
I'm gonna have to remember that one too. Next time somebody pisses me off and be like, "You look like the type of motherfucker that needs directions to learn how to masturbate."
That's a good put me down right there. Yeah, you'll need to use that one for sure. All right. Hey, game complainers in the house. What's going on? Tell us. Ray Baby Dit.
What is
up? No, you're here. The King, what's going on, brother? You're awesome. He says his stream is fire. The Gina's in the house tonight with us. That is amazing. I see Axel1324 hanging out with us as well. My good buddy Seamus Kelly is in the building. What's going on, Shamo? We got Joe Dunmore in the building. We got G Maybe. Who else we got tonight? We got a lot of great people. I see Princess Zelda lingering in the background. Princess Zelda, we are so going to miss your hubby on this show. We totally understand, but it's still very sad and disheartening, the news. And it's tough, especially I keep trying to build momentum on my podcast and the snowball keeps rolling down the fucking hill. But it is what it is. I totally understand, and me and Mental will carry the torch forward, and I'm sure we'll run out and find somebody fantastic. But no one can replace Titan. There's no one like him. That's the reason why I brought him back. So gonna be sad, but it is what it is.
Well, Jim Ryan's gonna be looking for work now after this. So, I mean,
oh my God,
you never know.
Hi, I'm Jim Ryan, and this is the Paint Drying Podcast. Tonight on the podcast is instruction 1 on how to masturbate.
Oh, man.
Oh, great.
Direction 1, pull down pants.
Trousers.
All right.
I call them trousers over there.
Oh, yeah. Pull down your trousers. I heard Jim Ryan was making a Wiimote stock controller to be released at Foam Stars and play one-handed. Yeah, probably so.
Oh,
all right, let's move into quickly into topic number 2 tonight, and that is Cyberpunk 2077. Here's some good news. I mean, a game that was kind of written off, Left 4 Dead. A lot of gamers dispelled their this hate for it. People got refunds. The game was broken for how many months, and here we are. Post-COVID, this team has not given up on it. Now, for whatever reason, maybe it's because they'd spent so much that they were kind of told, you know what, we got to make some return on this because we're kind of a smaller studio and we don't have the big publishing dollar. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, much like the crowd never gave up on No Man's Sky, they didn't give up on Cyberpunk. Now it gets patched 2.0. It's got Idris Elba in there. The graphics look shinier and prettier than ever before. The game is running smoother than ever before. They fixed some physics. They fixed a whole bunch of shit that didn't very work. And I'm hearing good things about it. Some people now saying that this is the game it should have been. And, if it was running for a Game of the Year nomination, I don't think it can. But like that would, this is the kind of game we wanted when it came out. Too sad that it's so far along, but good that they kept it going. Either one of you two played Cyberpunk 2077 or plan to jump in now that the patch is live?
I'm gonna go ahead and say no. It just isn't my type of game per se.
You don't like Keanu Reeves?
I like Keanu Reeves, and don't get me wrong, the graphics look amazing in the previews and in the trailers and everything that I've seen, the gameplay that I've watched. It looks great. It's just not my type of game per se. But it looks beautiful. So, I mean, it's got my vote there. And Idris Elba, I imagine, would only make it better. So, but it's just not my particular forte. I like more horror-based games. So, That's just me.
Well, from your perspective, outside of Cyberpunk, because you haven't played it and it sounds like you don't intend to, do you recall any other games from your repertoire that sort of got a second shot at life, so to speak, kind of come back? And there's been very few that have managed to survive over a year, sort of on life support, and then come back to kind of kill it, so to speak.
You know,
I mean, a lot of games have gotten updates, but I don't think anything has gotten updates and been sort of promoted and kind of risen from the ashes in the way that this game has. Or again, I go back to No Man's Sky, which that game was severely lacking, and now look at it, it's gotten a whole second lease on life. And I suspect that Starfield, despite people's complaints too, I think over the course of the next 3 or 4 years, I think is going to be a vastly different game than the one we're starting out with, in my personal opinion.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, Dreadpool actually that's true. He reminded me, We Happy Few. We Happy Few. I was actually really disappointed with the way they actually changed the game. When the game was announced and what they promised us was not what they gave us, so it actually went in the opposite direction of what you're saying. The demo for it was fantastic, it was fun, and then when the game itself was actually released, it was a shit show in my opinion. It's not at all what I was promised and expecting. So I guess it's kind of the opposite of what you're saying. Instead of getting a lease on life, it kind of dug its own grave. But I can't think of anything that actually went the opposite way offhand. I'm sure, like at 2:00 in the morning, I'll be like, "Damn it! I should have said this game." I'm going to attribute it to
Well,
the
another one other game that kind of did get a resurgent was, but not really because they did a whole lot new with the game, but because they released sort of another game, and that I was talking about Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2, while it was an amazing game with one of the best stories and best multiplayers I've ever played, was kind of dead largely because they released it right next to Battlefield 1, which cannibalized it instantaneously. A lot of people weren't really familiar with the Titanfall franchise at the time, so they just kind of gave up on it before it came out. Most people that only played it was off of the Xbox, going from the original Titanfall. And then lastly, it was the fact that, they came out and they did it Apex Legends. And Apex Legends did more for Titanfall than Titanfall. You know what I mean? Like, which is weird because Apex is largely based off of Titanfall, has a lot of the same mechanics, even some of the same weapons, as a matter of fact. But it was that game that kind of brought that one back to life, which is oddly enough. And now, thanks to the popularity of Apex, there is talks that we'll get a Titanfall 3, which I certainly hope so. Go ahead, Mentally.
Yeah, one that I can think of, besides Cyberpunk would be The Witcher 3. I mean, it launched in a pretty terrible state, right? People forget that because it kind of, it redeemed itself so well and ended up being a lot of people's favorite RPG they've ever played, right? And Cyberpunk, I played it, would have been about, it came out like shortly after the consoles released, right? It was like December or something like that in 2020. So I'd have played it the following summer, so 6-7 months after release is when I played it, and I played it on PC, which was less buggy than console to start with anyway. But for me, it was my game of the year that year. I loved it. I didn't have any real problems with it. It was a lot of fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, it had some quirky little bugs and weird things that happen with people floating around and stuff, but nothing game breaking at that point for me. So to see what they've done with the 2.0 version. I had a game in progress, so I jumped back in just to see what the skill tree changes were, and they were quite extensive. I'm like, oh crap, now I kind of wish I'd have finished this playthrough because, now I got to try and reconfigure my characters somehow to make it sort of at least similar to what I was already using. And eventually I kind of, I got it there, but yeah, I think it's a fantastic game, and I'm really looking forward to jumping into Phantom Liberty. It won't be long, and I'll be main story's pretty much wrapped up for me in Starfield. I hear there's good value in going through and the new game plus, and maybe I'll consider that. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. I guess I'll see how it ends and go from there. But yeah, I really want to jump into Phantom Liberty. Like I say, Cyberpunk was game of the year for me in 2021, and it's only got like so much better. Like I played it on console and I played it on PC,
Mm-hmm.
and the console version infinitely better than it was at launch. And the PC version, yeah, more performance improvements, the option for full path tracing, which is kind of crippling even with a 4090. The game looks fantastic. It's a great looking game. There's not a whole lot better out there in the world today in terms of just graphic quality and the way it plays. And yeah, it's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm not that far into Cyberpunk, but I'm actually tempted to restart another save file now, like start it up from scratch. That's what they recommended, apparently, is to kind of
Yeah.
start from scratch because the
It
quality of
takes you
life
right
features in
into
the
it.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it takes you straight into Phantom Liberty too, if I'm not crazy, something like that. Or it starts out
Okay.
with that as an option right away
Yeah.
to go down that
Yeah.
path.
And another game that sort of came back from the dead, pardon my pun, was State of Decay. State of Decay was also fairly broken and sort of, kind of hit a little bit of a plateau, and then it kind of was fading out. And then, due to some updates and a lot of updates and sticking with it, they brought it back, and Microsoft got behind them. Now they got a bigger studio, more money, and State of Decay 3 is apparently
The
coming.
updates keep
And
coming.
people love it. I mean, there's a very loyal following for State of Decay. Some people claim that it's
Mhm.
one of the best zombie games ever. And as a matter of fact, when I played State of Decay, I said, this would be a great game to put State of Decay, the Walking Dead license behind. With characters that
Yeah.
and do it, because they have that sort of that base building and that resource management and stuff. And can you imagine with a recognizable name included, maybe DLC or something, but like it kind of feels like it was meant for that sort of franchise.
That's actually, I like that idea. I'd probably play it more.
Mhm.
But it is one of those games that can be quite tedious too, from what I understand. I don't know if they've changed much of this or not, but like, running out of food because someone peed in the cornflakes or whatever, strange things like that. That would just be frustrating for me. I wouldn't be too into that, but if they tone that down a bit and don't have as many idiots in the game that would do things like that, hey, maybe I'd want to get in and give it a try. But I'm not so much into those types. It's a little bit too much of a role-playing game for me. But I did go in and try it a little bit when it first launched. Maybe it warrants a second look now, because I know they're updating it constantly. I keep seeing updates to download because I still have the game installed on a secondary drive. And it seems like every second time I turn on my Xbox, there's an update for it. So they're not leaving it lie.
Well, there's another game that Notorious brings up in the chat, Fallout 70, another game that should have been probably dead, but through updates and improvements has actually brought people back into the game.
Sea of Thieves, right?
Sea of
thing's
Thieves.
huge. Yeah, millions of players, and
Yeah.
it was pretty boring when it first launched. Like, it was pretty bad. Not a lot of content, and I mean, Halo's kind of in that situation too. The PvP in Halo's in a great state right now.
Halo Infinite, compared to where that started and where it is, especially from a multiplayer. I mean, the campaign. Also, they added the co-op campaign, which is funny because everybody wanted it so bad, and I don't hear anybody even talking about playing it. Crazy, but it's there. It's there. So kudos to them for at least bringing it. Better late than never, but they did. So yeah, everybody's bringing up games now. It's great.
Yeah,
right. Lease on life. So
persistence can pay off, that's for sure. Sticking with it, and Rare did a great job with Sea of Thieves. From what that's not a game I play, but I've heard from people I know, and other what's his name? There's shoot, he's on the RDX podcast. Zocker, he plays plays that to death, right? Loves it. Sea of Thieves, and yeah, there's a big following out there.
Sea of Thieves is not so much the game itself; it's finding the right people to play it with. There's a lot of games you can go out and play with randoms and be like totally fine. But I can honestly tell you, because I've played with experienced players and I've played with randoms, and by God, you need people that, one, communicate, and two, have some semblance of knowing what to do. And if anybody's played Sea of Thieves, you can tell you that like you actually kind of need people that have some sense of ever being on a boat in their life. Because there's a lot of physics and mechanics in there that act that way, you know what I mean? And it's like there's a lot of, when you're in the middle of a battle, like you got to organize your team, like somebody to do the cannons, somebody who's going to steer this fucking thing. So you know what I mean? Somebody who's watching out for people trying to hijack your boat. Like and you literally you have to have that component. And if you're into the randoms, it's infuriating because it's like having a bunch of dumb kids with you. It's like, oh my god, what the hell, right? And you're like sinking all the time, and they don't know what they're doing, or the idiots that get on the island and run off in every direction. You're like, come on, man, like let's get this shit together. And like, oh, I'm over here, and you're like, where? I'm over here. You know, that sort of crap. That's what drove me nuts with Sea of Thieves. Is like you can get a good crew to sail with all the time. It's a ton of fun.
Isn't there more of a PvE mode coming for it now too? Didn't they announce that where you don't have to worry about getting attacked by other players? I think I heard something about that. That might make me more interested in giving it a try.
Cool Kid Terry's right too. I remember Gears 5 was severely broken at launch. I remember me and some guys trying to play that one, and we had to stop numerous times because the levels weren't working properly. But then they fixed it.
You know what? Actually, that does remind me. Friday the 13th, when that came out, because that's online only. They hadn't accounted for as many people wanting to play it. Yeah. And the servers couldn't. Yeah, I remember watching that screen, that stupid loading screen for like ever. Oh God, I hated that. Yeah, they fixed that for a little while, and now the game's being pulled. So, great times.
And nothing's more frustrating, right, than waiting several years for a game, coming it out on launch day and booting it up, and it crashes in the first 5 minutes, and then seeing a loading, or you've been kicked and just waiting in lobbies. It's like you're just like, oh, right. Especially for those games that already had a beta, like some games that get betas and they go through it months in advance and then they come out and they still crash. You're like, are you kidding me? What's no point in doing the beta? But oh well. I mean, obviously, beta with 20,000 people is a lot different than a full game going to launch where 1 million people jump on board within the run of a day, and then everybody's trying to download it and people are trying to play it, and crazy stuff. But anyway, the good news is that Cyberpunk's got a patch 2.0. It's apparently looking and running better than it ever is before. So if you've never given the game a chance, I definitely suggest you go do it now. You should be able to pick it up on the cheap in most places. And I do love the game. I've been playing it. Again, it's just one of those that I play for a bit and then it gets lost in a backlog, and I'll come back and play it again and forget what the hell I'm doing. It gets lost in the backlog again. Now, any of these open world games, I've stated this time and time again, and the same thing with Starfield. Is like I like the games, but I just have a trouble with these massive games holding my attention for long periods of time because they're so massive. I'll if I know the game is like 10 or 20 hours, I'm likely to sit down and pound through it in a couple of days because I know it's short, and I'll stick to most of the main quests and do a few side quests. But I find when you get in these open worlds, I tend to be running off it because I'm like a completionist. I don't like to overturn stuff, and the more of that shit that's out there, the more sort of, oh my God, I got to go here. I got to go there. I got to do this. I got to that. You know what I mean? You feel like you're doing yourself an injustice by buying the game and not really exploring all it has to offer and just trying to skip through the narrative,
No, I do the same thing. That's how I have to be choosy with the games because, I do oftentimes get like sidetracked with the small quests or just finding random things to do in the game. It's like, why is this here? Well, obviously somebody wanted you to find it. So I I do the same thing. Yeah, Dread pulls yet at me a few times because we'll play when we're playing like Dead Island, and we're supposed to be on a particular mission, and he's, Death, where are you? And I'm like on the other side of the map, just, picking flowers or something ridiculous. Like, I just wandered off. It's okay. I'll be back soon. Don't worry. You'll be fine. Try not to die.
Shout out to the game complainers in the chat. He says Texas Chainsaw got rid of crossplay with PC to fix the cheaters from playing, but have yet to turn it back on. The game is almost dead right from the start. So I guess my question is did it do more damage by trying to get rid of the cheaters per se? Because like most of the people that were playing were probably PC, or not quite sure how that worked, right? I do know I hate the option of not being, like, sometimes I do like to turn crossplay on, but sometimes I wish I could just turn it off. It's annoying on certain games, especially when you're quite aware that there is apparent cheaters. It's infuriating.
Bloody PC gamers, it's all their fault.
At least some of them are coming down with some pretty big ban hammers, like that one guy that now got like he got like charged and his account's frozen and all this sort of shit. You can never
That's
just some
good.
guy there's just recently like got a major like caught cheating. So yeah, it's crazy.
I don't think that
Yeah.
I don't understand why you would bother wasting that much time and energy into it. I mean, it's literally a game that you're playing for fun.
Yeah.
Why would you put that much
It's
effort into a game? I mean, it's not like you're winning an award for beating it. It's not like we're winning money on this. So there's no point in cheating, in
And
my
how can
opinion.
you
It's
like
just foolish.
your own self, what do you call it, your self worth or self
self-worth.
esteem, but like
Yeah.
knowing that yeah, I'm number one on the leaderboard, but you damn well know that you cheated to get there, that you software hacks and beat people illegitimately, and you know what I mean,
Some
like
people don't care,
I guess they make
you know?
money from it because some of them are streamers and that sort of thing, and people want to see these guys
Yeah.
dominate. But it's pretty apparent pretty quick. Like I've said this before, when I see these guys with the sniper rifles, like in COD, and they're literally like a split second. They just the scope is up like this, like the spacity of my finger. See, it's up like that, and you can shoot straight and hit people. There is look, I played COD for freaking decades, and there's no effing way you can tell me that anybody's that good by just seeing a little speck on the screen like this, not even bigger than the size of a pimple up in your nostril, and manage to get headshots with a quick scope on a sniper rifle like that. Like, come on, man. I'm not fucking stupid. I wasn't born on a raft. These guys are definitely not that good. There's nobody that fucking precise, and nobody that precise in a split second anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
You're
I
using
used to get
something.
accused of cheating all the time in Counter-Strike back in the day. I was a god with an AWP and a Desert Eagle. Like
Mm-hmm.
my Twitch skills were, in my prime, they were pretty good, but there's limits to everything. And I played that game so much. I knew all the little tricks to use with an AWP. Like, you could jump out from behind cover and land perfectly stable if you touched your other key to move in the opposite direction just as your feet
Right.
touched the ground. And those were the tricks that you learned, and that was the skill gap that was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to get accused of cheating because that's impossible. You can't land stable and shoot straight. Well, you could. You just had to be really good at the game and spend way, way too much time playing it. Is what it came down to. And you could do crazy things. I would run around with the AWP in my hands and use it like a shotgun. And it's just knowing the game and knowing how that
Yeah,
gun would
yeah, and
behave.
there
You
are
could get
good
away with
people. And
some
I've played
stuff,
against
and
guys, and I know some of
yeah,
the good players, but I can
yeah.
pretty much tell. Play long enough to tell when that guy's
Oh
just a
yeah,
little too good. You're good,
yeah,
but it's a little too good. Like a guy that'll get you like 98% of the time, he's getting you every freaking time. It's like, come on, man, you can't know every corner that I'm in and be like headshot, headshot, headshot
yeah.
all the time, right?
Too
Mhm.
true. I used to
So.
get the other reason I'd get accused of cheating is because I'd kill people through walls all the time.
Mhm.
But again, that was just knowing that people always duck behind a crate that's right about there. And if I shoot that wall with an AWP, I'm going to kill them.
Mhm.
And sure enough, I get the kill. Oh, you're wall hacking. I'm like, no, I'm not. You're an idiot crouching behind a crate where everybody crouches behind a crate.
Or
It's
you
like
might
one of
have
the
the
maps.
infrared.
Yeah, one of the maps there, the Dust, I think it was, where there
Yeah.
was a hallway where the counter terrorists, generally speaking, they had all run down the middle of that hallway. Well, I knew where that hallway was, and I'd run over and I'd shoot through the wall, aiming straight for the middle of that hallway. I'd get double kills sometimes,
Kind of like the guys
killing
that throw
people.
the grenades at the spawn points because you just toss them random, and the
Exactly.
guys go, "That was a random,"
Yeah.
but it's like, no, if you actually played the game enough, you know that guys will spawn there
Yeah.
80% of the time, and if you chuck
Yeah.
a grenade right down that tube, you're probably going to get somebody, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to do that in Destiny. There, I forget what the map was called, but right as soon as you'd spawn at the start of the game, you could throw your grenades to the other side of the map and get kills if people weren't sitting ready to run away right away. And they,
Hmm.
how some people, they'll be like, oh, they're changing their weapons or something.
Yeah.
You'd get the kills because you'd stick them with grenades.
Hmm.
And it's just knowing the map, knowing the game, playing enough. But you're right, though, Noof. I'm not trying to say you're wrong with that. There's some things that people do, like you have that drop shot cheat in COD where they drop to the ground and they snipe you in the head. It's just garbage, plain and simple.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Not possible.
Easy to get off on large tangents. What's going on? My brother Saltiest Gaming is in the chat. What's going on, brother Salt? Jago Kukin is in house. The Game Complainers is hanging out with us. Good to see you, my friend. As always, fun speculation. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. Mav. What's going on, brother? Good to see you here. Yeah. So anyway, any further thoughts on the Cyberpunk and just kind of the renaissance of games coming back to life?
I like to see it. I'll say that. You know,
Yeah, I
I
Yeah,
mean,
think
I'm
it's
always
it's
up for a
great.
game improving.
yeah, it's good to
Yeah,
see.
it's sad they launch in a broken state. I wish we could get rid of that aspect of things. Like, think of where Halo would be and how different it would be if they delayed it by another year and a half,
Well,
right?
I think that's the
And
problem is they're trying to push out the games so quickly to try and compete with the other companies that they're not finishing them to the right quality that we expect them to be and that they want them to be. Because how many games have they released this year alone where literally like a month or two
Mm,
later they're like, don't forget to do this newest update, or this isn't going to
yeah,
work for you? And it's like, why do I have to do 50 downloads
yeah.
when I just bought the game? This is
oh,
ridiculous.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, the day one patch scenario, right? I
Hmm.
mean,
yes,
that is something to be
Yeah.
said for the old days. You bought that game
Right.
cartridge or you bought that CD, and it either
mhm.
worked or it didn't from day one, and that's what you had. And as soon as, the internet and broadband started to really take hold, all of a sudden you're getting day one patches and, games were getting
Yeah.
released broken,
Bring
I was
back
just
you know?
about to
Kirby.
say. Yeah, can you
Yeah.
imagine those old game developers today? Like they're going, man, I wish this was around when we built a game because when we built it, it had to get tested, it had to get
Hey,
tested, it had to get tested, and then it came out and there could still be bugs in it, and it's like, fuck, it's already gone gold and it's on the shelf and there ain't much we can do
You
about it.
can't fix it now.
You know what though? I think if they had done then what they do now, I don't think gaming would have survived. I really don't. I don't think it
Oh,
would still
no,
be around the way it is right now, and I don't think it would be as
you're not
popular
wrong.
as it is.
You're not
Because
wrong.
if I mean, think about it, not every when the internet first became a thing that everyone started getting in their houses, one, it was slower than shit, and we didn't have most people couldn't sit and have their
Yeah.
how they couldn't have the internet on for 4 or 5 hours a day. It was you get
Yeah,
20 minutes online
couldn't get
and
a
then
phone
someone's
call.
picking up that house phone and kicking you off whether you want it or not. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So there would have been no way for them to release these games and have us down. How in the hell would we have even downloaded patches in the first place? I mean, to download a 2-minute song, it took like 5 days.
Mhm.
So there's no way gaming would have
yeah,
served. Like they
man.
would have done that, and people would have bought their. Maybe they would have bought two. Maybe they would have bought two games. But after that second game, and they had to download, 5 days worth. No, parents
Mhm.
would have put an end to it right then and there.
Oh yeah,
And the systems
yeah,
would have gone by. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Didn't I
No,
just
I
buy you an
remember.
$80 game and now you're asking me for the $25 DLC?
Yeah,
Oh, could
I was
you
gonna say that.
imagine?
No, no way, no way. Well,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
parents
no,
didn't
it's
buy me
yeah.
anything to do with video games. That was just me saving my allowance, doing my chores, whatever I had to
Yeah.
do, saving up my pennies, and buying a game. So I was pretty selective. I had to be, right. I only had 4 or 5 games for a console, and that's what you played over and over and over. You play them to death, right?
My
Or you
mom would have
go
lost her
and rent them.
mind if
I
she
got
would have
Yeah.
bought
extra
us a
money for cutting
$60
coins
game
off
and
of
then
grandma's feet.
yeah. I bet you
Oh
a
yeah.
$60 game and now you need how much more money? Oh, absolutely. And that's another thing too.
Hmm.
Games also didn't cost as much back then as they do now. So
Yeah.
yeah, the whole thing just wouldn't have worked back then the way it works now.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No. No.
No doubt. Gaming has advanced in so many ways, regressed in a few other ways, but that's a
Mhm.
conversation for another day for sure. But as we said at the top of this show right now, if there's one thing for sure is we can complain about too many damn games. It's just our
Yes.
backlogs do not get smaller. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
No. No, I've
Crazy
got
stuff.
so many games I want to play that I just don't have the time to play. And eventually, maybe I'll get to them, but
Hmm?
it means the new ones. You keep downloading these games if they're on Game Pass, or you go out and you buy a game and you think, when am I actually going to play that? And I've started to ask myself this question now. I'm getting better at it. Before I buy something, or I ask myself, when are you actually going to have time to play that? And I'm like,
Yep.
so why pay? You know, I don't buy games at launch. That's very, very rare for me. Uh, so I'll wait till they're in the bargain bin, knowing full well that I'm not going to probably play it for a while. But, you know, it's like if I just wait another
Yeah.
month or two, it'll probably be $20, you know, and I'll buy it
Mhm.
then. It's
Let,
like I
let me
got the
ask you
quarry.
both this question since we're kind of on the same topic. What is your current modern day biggest gaming pet peeve? I know exactly what one of mine is. In modern gaming, what's something that kind of drives you bonkers a little bit, irritates you? It's got to be something.
Mm.
Got a
Everybody
lot.
kind of had that thing. Expansion.
Expansions or
Yeah.
season passes, that pisses me
Yeah.
off till no end. I'm so tired of spending $80 on a game for like 6 months to go by, and then they're like, oh, buy this $40 season pass or you can't
Mm,
do. Stop it
yeah.
already. Stop it. If I don't want to
Yes.
buy it, I don't want to have to buy it. Don't try and make me buy it. I already sunk enough money into this game. Why am I sinking a shitload more into it when I already
Yeah.
own the thing? Like that annoys me till no end. That's my biggest pet peeve
Mm-hmm.
right there. Spending too much money on the game already and then having to buy more shit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Make it
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things when I'm a PC main, and that's no secret. But
Yeah.
one of the things that drove me nuts with console initially, like when I first started playing on Xbox with Halo, I'm like, what do you mean you got to buy a map pack? Map packs were just free on PC, right? Like it was community created maps for the games I was playing. I built maps. I downloaded Radiant. And I was making maps for Quake 3 Deathmatch, and it was all community contribution. You got them all for free. You didn't have to buy map packs. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
that's just such a scam. And here we are now, and it's DLC is paid for everywhere. Expansions are paid for everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's frustrating. And I think along those lines, I think it's what drives me the most with modern gaming is the FOMO strategy that they seem to want to use, and that feeds
Yeah.
into your seasons passes and everything
Right.
else.
Yeah. Like
And
the play early conundrum where they're
yeah,
now kind of baiting
yeah,
you in to buy the stuff by giving you the early
yeah,
days. Yeah.
get the deluxe version for this exclusive content pack, and whatever fancy extra suit you get for your your character, right?
Mortal
And I
Kombat did that
really,
not too long ago with
yeah,
one of their games when they released with the horror actors, when they put like Jason and
Freddie.
Freddie and all them in it,
Freddy,
and they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we're gonna add these extra people, but you got to pay for it." It's like, I, I already bought the
mm,
game. Why am I buying just
yeah,
2 characters? Why couldn't you just give them to me? You know I wanted them. You know that they go with the game. Just
Yeah.
give them to me,
yeah,
or let me beat
Yeah, and
somebody to get
I get
them.
what you're saying. I know the AAA games cost more money, but at the same time, they're charging you the full price. They're not like they're giving this shit away to you either. Like remember back in the day when you bought a skin or you bought DLC, it was like reasonably priced, and you're just kind of like, yeah, cool. Like now you legitimately like are paying like a third of the game cost for some of this stuff. Anybody is familiar with Fortnite knows that they're way overcharging for the cost of their skins, and they're getting away with it, and they're rehashing them, repeating them out, and taking them off, and then bringing them back, and people are buying them. Like these guys are, I don't know if they're geniuses or crooks. I can't figure out which one, but they are taking that game to the bank. And same thing, and I'm totally with you, Death. That is my biggest pet peeve as well. The seasonal passes. We're paying 80, 90, $100 now for some of these games. And
yep,
the fact that we know in most cases that this DLC isn't a reactionary like stuff added to a game because the game was successful. A lot of times this game is literally that stuff is planned right from the get-go. They know exactly what they're going to do 4 months, 6 months, 12 months into the game release, and they're going to stiff us with it. You're going to pay full
yeah,
price, and on top of that, I don't know, we almost get double rammed up the ass because we'll pay the money for it, go out and buy all this shit, right? And by the time you buy it all, guess what? The game starts now becomes from like say 89.99 Canadian to say if you bought all the DLC. Now you paid about 150, maybe $200 in some
yep,
cases for that game. And guess what? About a
yep,
year later, you can get the whole fucking game in the bin for $30 with the ultimate edition with all the shit. And you're like, are you
yeah.
kidding me? So
Eh,
like you take us to the bank and then you basically give anyone who's like not a diehard. It's almost like you're a sucker if you're like the first people to buy it. Like, oh, these guys are idiots. They love us so much. How come they don't give those people something extra for free, but then just give it to people that like, oh, I don't really care about the game. I'll buy it when it's $20, and you guys get everything because you waited like 1 or 2 years, but the rest was like get just taken to the bank.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
yeah, no, I know more and more people personally that they don't buy games anymore. They buy year edition that comes with everything, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's when they play it. If it's a first person or sorry, a single player type game, that's the only way they do it. And I
Mhm.
can't. I don't
Yeah,
blame
if you
them.
can
You
wait,
know.
like I said, there's a patience is a virtue, and if you're able to wait, great. But
Mhm.
that's the problem. What I've always found, and
It's the
this is a
FOMO
problem again,
aspect.
having too many games to play, is that back in the 360 days, I didn't find it so bad because my friends wouldn't move on from each game consistently. But if I go on my Xbox right now, I literally can have 50 to 70 players online at any given time, and it'd be like
Hmm.
19 players or 70 players, but like so many people are in just like if you look at them, almost everybody is playing different shit, right?
Mhm.
Now, back when
Hmm.
I was into the 360 consoles, it was pretty much down to like 4 or 5 top games. Nobody was playing everything. If I wanted someone to play Call of Duty with, there's guaranteed there was 5 or 6 guys ready to roll or Gears, and now it's just like you got Starfield and you got whatever the hell it is. Like people are playing everything, and it's just like there's so many games, so
Yeah,
that sort of thing. It's kind of counterproductive in a sense,
yeah.
but it is what it
I
is.
No, it is. There's not much you can do to change it. The only way we're going to have or see changes, I guess, I shouldn't say there's not much we can do, is if people quit buying it.
Yeah,
Just
true, but it's not going to happen
refuse
though.
to pay the price, right? But it's not going to happen. I mean, the younger generation, they don't know all these things that we know because we've been
Mhm.
around a while, right? We've been gaming for a long time. So you
No.
get the younger generation, they grow up coming into this stuff thinking this is normal, this is how it is. They've never known, to get maps for free. That's just not a thing.
Yeah.
They've always paid for every last little bit, so they're used to it and they think it's no big deal. And then, oh, it's you're poor if you complain about it. And no, that has nothing to do with it, right? It's
Yeah,
just we know better.
Mhm.
So, GG.deals is my friend and cdkeys.com is my friend, right? Like
yeah,
that's where I buy my games from. I save big bucks, and even Starfield, like I bought the pre-order, but I got it for the Canadian version. I saved about $35 off the Canadian one. I got the deluxe, edition for less
yeah,
than what the standard edition was. So that's the way you got to do it.
yeah, indeed. No, I definitely agree. And Jago says another good thing that is becoming commonly very annoying in games these days, and I think a lot of us can agree there too, is developers making in-game content very grindy to get. And he's 100% right with that too. It's like, come
Hmm.
on, like a lot of us, our time is money. A lot of us aren't buying one game and playing it for 150 hours every game, like right to the end. And I find car games are like that now. Like you got to race so blended matches just to get shit out of the box. I'm like, come on, we paid enough money for these games. Give us some shit out of the box. Let's drive some good cars. Stop toying with us and making us race 40, 50 matches before we get enough upgrades or get enough money to buy something half sensible. Like, you know what I mean? I'm so tired of half of these racing games coming out. You always got to drive a stupid friggin' Mini Cooper or some shit from the start until you can get like decent money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You guys know what I'm talking about. And you do that with
Yeah,
a lot of games where they just find to feed you a bone and then says, yeah, you better work for it, bitch.
it's
You
that
know?
artificial grind they build into it, and when a game starts to feel like a second job, that's when I'm out, and
Yeah.
that's why I
Mhm.
left Destiny. I just couldn't do it anymore. It was like every change they made was to just make me do the same thing over and
Right.
over for longer and longer and longer. And it's like, how come everything I do always involves, go collect 50 of these, kill
Yeah.
50 of those? And it's like, really? Do I really need to do that?
Gets
I
monotonous,
the
right?
reality is I don't. And the best decision I've ever made in gaming was finally just uninstalling it a couple years back. And I
That's
haven't touched
exactly
it
why I gave up
since.
on Destiny 2. It was like it started
Yeah.
out fun, but I wanted more of a story based thing, and then I started realizing this game is nothing but literally a looter shooter and a grind fest. And I was like, I'm
Yeah.
out. I feel like I'm doing the same shit over and over, going to a different spot, shooting this many dudes. Like I said, did the same stuff, like all these challenges
Yeah.
and stuff to just get what, like a different skin or something that really was not all that significant in the end
Yeah.
game, or more than a bragging right. Hey, look, I got a gold condom. because I killed 500 people. You know.
Yeah, like I always loved the PvP side of it. That was my go-to for that, and they kind of destroyed that on me to the point where it seemed like, and even if you were on the winning team, getting mercies all the time is kind of boring when you're running over the other team and the match lasts 5 minutes because the gap is so huge. And of course, if you're on the flip side of that, getting run over all the time isn't fun either.
Yeah.
So I just got to the point where this game's not fun. I'm either getting stomped on or I'm stomping on someone. And what fun is that? I liked competitive matches. So yeah, they lost me with that and a whole bunch of more other choices. And from what I've seen, it's only got worse. But it's not a game for me. And that's that's probably right up there with the FOMO marketing and the way they try and drive games down your throat these days. I don't really like that either. So, but those two types of things combined are my second job. I don't need one. Don't really want one.
I'm saying the only way I'm ever catching up on my backlog is if I somehow get crippled and got to stay home or get unemployed or some fucking thing. But then I wouldn't have money for anything. So it's a double-edged sword because honestly, there's no way in my limited couple hours a night am I going to get enough time to play all the games that I got on my threshold. It's just not happening.
Yeah, well, I just had a 4-day weekend and I spent the vast majority of it working on my house, right? So,
it's like you got other things to do when you finally get those days off. It's not like you can just go, I'm just going to flake with some games and you're probably trying to catch up on your chores or spend some quality time with the fam. It's not just, I can sit in the house and just game. That's a great luxury to have, but very few of us have it. So,
yeah, it's not really an option for the most part.
Okay, last topic real quick. We'll move on. Kind of got off topic a little bit. Hey, but it turned into great conversation, right? I love it. Red Dead Redemption 2 looks like it's probably going to get a remake. Would anybody ready to dive back in? Or if either one of you two finished the original Red Dead Redemption 2? I will just put up and say, yes, I have finished the campaign. I loved every minute of it. I can't say that I enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2 quite maybe as much as I enjoyed the first one. I don't know if it's because of Sign of the Times and how far ahead the first Red Dead Redemption was compared to everything else out there. I kind of like the first character better too. I kind of like John Marston for some weird reason a bit more than the other dude from the second, whatever the hell is. See, I can't even remember his name. Whatever the hell his name was. But anyway, I love both games. I thought they're extremely well done. In many cases, they're better than the GTA series, although they're sort of built off the same stuff. But it's just a semblance of more grounded realism. How they really capture the old Wild West, like this, that sort of stuff. They kind of do things in reverse. They're amazing games. The second one is certainly, I think, one of the greatest games in history, in my personal opinion. It looks like it's going to get an upgrade, hopefully, based on some documents or something. And look, come on, who are we kidding here? GTA has already had 4 or 5 versions, so it's only fair that Red Dead Redemption 2 gets a higher quality version for the new console. So who's ready to jump back in?
I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna pass on this one because I played the original, and while I liked it, it's not my speed anymore. It's a lot slower than what I
you want dead guys
nowadays.
on a horse, like your background, right?
Yes. I like the apocalypse. But it was an enjoyable game when I played it and when it came out, and I'm glad they're giving it a remake so more people will have the opportunity to possibly get into it and play it. But I mean, it's just a remake, so I'm gonna pass. It's just better graphics, but it's the same game. It was fun for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I started it and never finished it because that first walk through the snow just kind of was like, oh dear Lord, is this ever going to end? And it just seemed to really start slowly, so it didn't grab me in that first couple of hours of gameplay where I felt like I really wanted to keep going. Now, that said, it is part of my backlog. I will get to it eventually, and I heard it picks up and becomes a great game. So I loved the first one. It was one of my favorite games on Xbox 360. I thought it was fantastic. I played the heck out of it. I really enjoyed it. So, if it gets close to that, then yeah, it's a game I have to go back.
Red Dead Nightmare, that was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly, game. Right? Like, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And like I say, if they can come close to that experience and upgrade the game. I'm assuming like for the series consoles, they'll probably get a 60 FPS mode or something.
Yeah.
Performance mode of some kind. That's great. I think I have it on PC. Actually, I'll have to check. I
Oh,
think that's
they
where I
still
ended up
made a
buying it,
series version of GTA 5, didn't they? They like the official release, didn't they do that? I'm pretty sure they brought out a copy for both.
Maybe.
Right? So,
Yeah,
hey, any chance
be.
they're going to get to sell another copy, right?
Well, the masters of that, right? How many people have bought GTA 5 like 4 or 5 times, right? I've never paid for that game. I do have it on PC. I got it for free from the Epic's Game Store because they give away games like it's like going out of style. So, if you're a PC gamer and you don't have an Epic Store account, you should, just for the fact they give you free games like every week. It's crazy, and some of them are really good games, like a little older, but BioShock Collection, for instance, and GTA 5, and I mean the list goes on and on. But I think I've got somewhere around 150 games in there, and I've bought like 5 or 6. So a lot of them are indie games and things too. But anyway.
Well, like I said, hopefully, like Dread is alluding to, maybe it has an update, because I wouldn't mind jumping back in. Hey, and if I get more frame rates and a higher resolution, or just the bottom line, the game just looks and plays better. I mean, I'm always for jumping back into a game when it gets those kind of treatments, and I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Or it might pick it up on the PlayStation, which I never did beat it on the PlayStation. I had it on the Xbox, so maybe that's an option. But like at the end of the day, like I don't really have an issue with most of this for the most part. I mean, yeah, I think it's overkill with Grand Theft Auto 5 because it's been 10 years and it's actually had 3 generational releases: 360, PS3, PS4, Xbox, and now again, right? So it's basically been re-released 3 times. But I understand when it makes money. They're big games. We know why they do it. Not to say that it's always great that they do, but we know why they do it. And to each their own, I guess. If you've never played the game before and you're still buying a copy, then kudos to you. You're coming in late, but you're getting it the best version at the cheapest price, right? So they kind of do it with the movie industry and some of the music industries too, where they were re-release something 10 years later, remastered editions with extra songs that you never got the first time. Where they're not the only industry that does this kind of shit and repackages stuff to make money. So it is what it is, right? So
yeah. Well, and Sony's masters at that too, right? They don't. Nothing's for free there. Your upgrades, you pay $10 for them, and got to get every penny out of you. It's
yeah. Nickel and dime time, baby. PlayStation, you guys are masters of that shit. Alrighty. Well, we're going to get ready to close the show, but before we do, you guys have any questions for any of the alter ego characters? Anybody want to see, how about you, Death Dealer? I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but are you familiar with Safe House Sam, Arnold, or Cletus, or perhaps Handy Andy? Because whoever you guys want to come in here, it's about time to bring in our special persona of the night. Handy Andy hasn't been here for a while. I'm sure people would like to see him.
I'll say Handy Andy then.
How about you, Mental? Who do you think we should ask?
Be careful for what you ask for there, Death Dealer. I'll go with what she's saying just because it's been a while, and the guest is always right in this case. So
okay, all right. Well, we're gonna have to bring him in here.
Incoming.
Andy is incoming indeed. All right, guys. So here he comes. Get your Andy. We got some people saying for Andy. Yeah, it's been a little while, I think, since we've seen Andy, and I think he's always got a few things to say. So I've got to get him ready here, Andy. He's got to come out of the old closet here. Let me scooch over, make some room for this guy. All right, here we go. I got to get out of the frame, right, Andy? Yeah, man, get out of the frame. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody! Hey, easy, baby! Oh, let's go! Yeah, Death Dealer, see? You make it. I bet you regret it already. I bet you regret that decision right now. I know Mental does, because he's seen me here before. As a matter of fact, me and Mental, don't we kind of look a little bit alike, or is that just me?
Yeah, pretty similar there, Andy.
I just need some
kind of disturbing.
If you take the hair off the top of my head and you put it on my chin, it look a little bit like yours.
yeah, that's very observant of you.
Look, I want to see you do this, Death Dealer. Do this whip and nay. With banana.
Yeah. Well, hey, a younger me that had hair halfway down my back, I could have done that, but
Oh, I got hair
not
halfway down my
anymore. Now I
crack.
just end up with whiplash.
So, anyway, you guys can feel the questions for me. It's been a couple of weeks, and school is back, and it's good to homies be back in the classroom. You know what? You can't have the word class without some ass.
So Doggy Dog has a question for you, Andy. Doggy Dog asking, wants to know what you think about Jim Ryan getting canned.
Jesus Christ, it's about fucking time. Oh my God, it's been so fucking overdue. I was sitting there thinking, if this guy goes another 5 years, he's probably going to have some kind of a heart attack or something. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't he seem stuck up? He literally is like Noof Nukem said at the start of the show. Like, he's the kind of guy that you look at him and you go, he needs directions to help masturbate. You know? Honest to God, he's the kind of he's the kind of dude that sits down and gets his balls stuck in his toilet seat. You know? Can't say it's ever happened to me. Okay. Then we got more questions?
I'll let Death Dealer read the question from her other half.
Okay. Hey, Tread. I miss you, Tread. You should have been on the show, Tread.
She can own that.
Okay. I'm going to kill him later.
Your wife is doing a really good job, Tread. I'm going to take her on a date, Tread. Screw you, buddy.
I heard Andy liked fisting. Is Noof Nukem you best one to do that to you?
Oh, Jesus. Noof, he's got fingers the size of small sausages. So up my ass, let me tell you, it's not well, sometimes, depending on whether I'm like a couple of drinks into the wind, it kind of feels kind of good. But other times it's like, oh my God, I'm having an aneurysm from my anus.
Whoa. That's interesting. So what you're saying is he gives you hemorrhoids.
Oh my!
That's basically, I think, what that would be the equivalent of.
You heard it right here. Noof Nukem is. Oh, by the way, Titan Drogo, you fucking sissy, you had to leave the show. That's what it was. I got too much for you. You couldn't handle all this sexiness. Oh, so he's like, yeah, I can't. I gotta bow out because this guy's too cute. He's too cute. And look, you can be a teacher. I can be a preacher. Clap, 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 clap. Okay.
Oh man.
Do we got more questions? I love this question period shit. I love questions. I hate the periods. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's one
My
more.
My grandpappy once told me, never trust something that bleeds for 5 days and doesn't die.
The Gina wants to know what's Handy Andy's favorite pervert game.
Oh, you gotta go back to the original Leisure Suite Larry. He's awesome. I'm pretty sure that's why Larry Herb retired. He was too much in common with Leisure Suite. Right now he's off somewhere. Nobody knows where he is. He's not associated with Xbox, and he's like being all perverted. Man. That's why he used to wear the white gloves.
Oh my gosh!
I don't have any white
gloves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Major
I got
Nelson,
white underwear on though, but minus the big brown skid mark down the back. Kind of looks like my head.
My goodness. And RWK88 with a super chat for $1.99.
Okay.
And that's to help support your Corn Hub subscription. And
yes, Corn Hub! Has anybody ever seen corn? Oh, I love Corn Hub. Sexy corn. Buttery corn. Popcorn. Caramel corn. Fucking porn corn. Yeah, I love corn, baby! You know the best part about corn? You can see it when it comes out.
Oh, way too much.
Andy hasn't heard about the overshare concept. He's an open book, so you're gonna,
I guess,
Was it a little TMI going on over here? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to gross anybody out. But, it's the only thing you can eat. You always know what you had for dinner. Oh yeah, I forgot what I had for dinner last night. And then you go, and you're like, oh, there it is. That's what I had for dinner last night. Okay, that's one. And then I gotta go. I gotta go because I got girls to chase while the night is young.
Oh, you going out tonight, Andy?
Oh, you never know. I might go out. Once Noof Nukem removes his fucking hand from my ass, I just might go out.
Ladies, you've been warned. He's leaving the house,
How
so
can
that's
you
your cue
resist?
to go
Building.
in the house.
How can you resist this awesome sexiness? Oh,
Well,
look,
yeah, he's
I
still
got
working
3
on those
teeth
teeth,
that
though, eh?
can't be beat. I like to go down on the top of your feet, take off your clothes, and feel my nose, because I'm gonna go down and suck your big toes.
Yeah, that's wow, that's a
Okay,
lot.
anyway, I'm out. You guys have a great night, Titan. Fuck
Good
yourself.
night, Andy.
Titan, all seriousness, Titan, we will miss you. You're freaking amazing. You were awesome on this show, and hopefully we'll have you back for maybe a guest appearance from time to time, whenever you can find some time to hang out with us. Right?
Let's hope
Okay.
so.
Okay, see you guys. Have a great night, everybody. Love you.
Good
You're
night,
awesome.
Andy.
Bye,
See
Andy.
you, Death Dealer.
Don't stay out too late.
See you, bald bitch. Yeah, let's go.
All right,
Oh,
so there
my.
you go. You were warned by Mental. He told you at the start.
Yeah.
Now
Be careful
see
for what you
Handy
wish
Andy.
for.
You get what you wish for. Yeah, there you go. Woo! All right,
Good
Handy
times.
Andy. He is definitely a handful. He was a handful tonight. It's been a couple of weeks since he went off, like literally. So there you go. Yes, Curry says Andy's always a pleasure. All righty, guys.
Yeah. It's one way of looking at it.
All righty. But anyway, we're at the end of the show. Again, for those of you who came in, first of all, shout out to everybody. You're amazing. The King, glad you're really enjoying the podcast, my friend. I know it's only been a few weeks since you've been showing up, but thank you to the Game Complainers, the Jenna, RWK88, Timothy Dixon, Doggy Dog, Dreadpool, Jago Kukin. Man, you guys are all amazing. Everybody's in this chat. It's one of the best chats ever. I can't stress that enough. I say it each and every week, but you know what? I mean it every single week. You guys are amazing. Talus Ray. The list goes on. Joe Dunmore. All these people. Curry
Dunmore.
Cosmos. The list goes on. You guys are just unbelievable. You're here almost each and every week. Shout out to everybody, whether you're here a week or people that come on the replay, Notorious, whatever. Guys, we do appreciate you. We really do. It's fun that you come and hang out with us and chat games and sit here and listen to the BS. And sometimes we're factual, sometimes we're just opinionated. And at least right here, 100% asshole certified. I take credit for that. But no, we have a lot of fun here. Honestly, I have a lot of fun doing this each and every week. And I'm sincerely going to miss Titan. He was one of a kind. He was amazing on Gaming After Dark. He was amazing here with us. We're certainly going to miss him as a regular. He will be back, I'm sure, in the future. Like I said, for guest episodes, he has an open invitation. I've said that to him in the past. He knows it now. But anyway, it is what it is. I'll see what happens. I got to talk to Mental now, obviously behind the scenes, and see where we want to move forward. The kind of people that we both feel like would make a complimentary person on the show. And that sort of thing. And like I said, maybe we have to change a time slot a little bit or something, but we got to see what works. Dreadpool says he may be biased, best guest ever. You know what, Dread? We won't challenge that. She was pretty damn awesome tonight. We look forward to having her back. As a matter of fact, I'd really like to get 3 or 4 of the ladies on, not just one female guest, but maybe 3 or 4 of the ladies that I certainly respect and admire in the gaming community. Especially when we get some great issues that they can chime in. I always say it's great to get a difference of opinion, whether it's your ethnicity or your or whether I say you are a female gamer, because they look at things a little bit differently we do. They normally play some different games sometimes, but it's just great to get that difference of opinion, and we appreciate it. So, well, anyway, Tight, we're going to miss you, man, and hopefully we'll see you back in the future, and we'll keep you guys posted on what's coming up here soon. So. But anyway, let's let our special guest, who, if you're not acquainted with you by now, hopefully you are, Death Dealer, let people know where they can catch up with you, whether it's social media, on a podcast, or whatnot. I'm sure this won't be your last time here, but where they can catch up with you in the meantime.
Well, you can always find me on Twitter, and it's under the same name, Death Dealer85. I usually am on Iconic Video Games on Friday nights at 8:00 Eastern time. However, for the month of October, unfortunately, I will be in the middle of the woods scaring people. So, but you can still catch them and watch them, because Axel, Doggy, and Princess Zelda are amazing. with or without me. They are fantastic. So you should definitely check them out. And on Sunday nights at 9:00, I have my own, which is Majestic Mayhem on 4GQ TV. That is me and two other ladies. And we discuss video games, movies, TV shows, whatever we feel like. And so you can always check my Twitter and find out where I will be popping up, because I seem to be doing that quite a bit lately. So
nothing wrong with that.
Awesome.
We'll take a little more Death Dealer in our lives. As long as she's not as long as she's not handing out some kind of voodoo and we all croak the next day, yeah, we'll be okay. She's like, I'm putting a hex on you right now.
Maybe.
Have,
it's that time of the season, you know.
Right, that's right. Toil and trouble.
Kidding.
All right. So, and Mental, obviously, again, glad that you can make it this week to be with us, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. But anyway, thanks for holding down the fort with me, as always. And let people know where they can catch up with you and Caffeine Entertainment, keeping us up.
I'm at Mental9R on X, Twitter, whatever you prefer. Mental9R on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, pretty much everywhere it's Mental9R. And except for YouTube, it's Caffeine Entertainment. It is time to wake up.
Time to wake up, baby. Woo! All right. Yes, I've had 2 monsters already. I'm damn well up. Let me tell you, my adrenaline is flowing. Yeah, shout out to Dread, man. Long-time supporter of the channel, has been hanging around with me for years. I can't wait to get him back on the show here at some point. So, Dread, let me know when you got an opening, brother. Maybe we can get you and the missus on at the same time. That'd be a great fun indeed.
Spousal fights. That's what we
Spousal fights. We get the spouses together. Yeah, bring them all in, right?
Our fights are entertaining. They're not real. We don't fight like a lot of couples do. Our fights are usually the most ridiculous of things. Like, I know that movie came out in 1995, and he'll say, no, they're like, we argued about The Simpsons' first appearance. That was an actual argument we had. Was
it was on a talk show, wasn't it?
First appeared. Yes, he was telling me I'm younger than him, so I never saw the show that it was introduced on.
Right.
I just remember the Simpsons TV show, and I was like, no, it came out. And so those are the kind of arguments we have.
Right.
We're not dramatic.
For some reason, I can see intense sarcasm amongst you two for some reason.
Yeah, that's our argument.
Because Fred, I've known for a while, and he comes across sometimes when he's trying to have those jokes, it's kind of like that dry sarcasm. You can definitely picture that.
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah. Right on, smart ass. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So
Alrighty.
anyway, check out Mental when you can. Check out Death Dealer again on Twitter and stuff. Again, thank you to all watching live tonight. Thank you all on the replay as well. There you go. The Game Complainers, the Tracy Ullman Show, the Christmas special. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No sarcasm. Okay, I don't believe you, Greg. Don't believe you for a minute. But again, guys, thank you everybody for coming out and supporting the show. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Share this out. Tell your friends. Let's get some more people up in here and keep building this channel. We are not going anywhere, so let's dispel any rumors that may come of this. Gaming Feuds will still be ongoing. There might be a couple changes. I don't even know. Maybe we'll change the time slot because I don't really like hopping in halfway through Colt Eastwood's show, let me tell you. So we'll see. I got to talk with Mental. We'll figure out what works, and we'll come back with an answer. But until then, we'll be looking for another panel member. If you guys have a suggestion, or if you feel that you might be the right replacement, let me know. We'll be happy to have you on as a guest of the show, and we can figure it out from there. But in the meantime, we'll take it one step at a time, 1 week at a time, and hopefully we'll figure this out shortly. So in the meantime, again, Death Dealer, thank you for being here. Mental, as always, it's a pleasure. To the chat, you guys are amazing. And we'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Good night, all.
Take care.